All right, guys, welcome to the show. Today I've got Mike Thomas from the Mike from Maine show. I've actually known Mike for quite some time now, and I've been following his show, and he's actually been helping me out quite a bit with my own show. So it's a pleasure to have Mike on today. Mike, I guess if you want to introduce yourself, maybe talk a little bit about your story and how you got started online way back before you started doing interviews.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I've been online for a long time, it seems now. I've been doing internet marketing stuff since around, I need to go back and get these dates right, because I keep saying 2005, 2006, 2007 to people, but around that time. I initially got started on the internet doing making money online stuff after I found out that my older brother was making a full-time income. I think he was making between $100,000 and $300,000 a year selling magazine subscriptions online. And that was back in the golden age when the rules were different. AdWords, Google AdWords allowed different advertising. Yahoo Overture, which is what it was called, now it's Bing Ads, allowed different advertising rules. But his business ended up drying up, but I kept on going on. So anyways, I got started with my first website, which was called freetrialofferguide.com. I don't own it anymore. I think I let it expire and someone else bought it, but I ended up doing some affiliate marketing and doing some reviews of different trial offers that people could get and why they should get in. And if they bought through my affiliate link, I would get an affiliate commission. So that's kind of where I got started out. From there, I ended up moving on into doing more affiliate marketing, where I was buying traffic in Google AdWords and sending it directly to affiliate links, where I was making I think $1.50 per conversion for that. So I was doing, I think it was between 2007, 2006, and 2008, I was doing about $100,000 a year doing that. So that was a nice time when it was pretty easy money. It was, and the way that I had found all that was by just experimenting and trying out different ways of making money, trying out different ways of getting traffic, trying it on different offers, and I ended up hitting it big and doing that for a few years. Then in 2008, I packed up my bags and I moved. Right, I guess I didn't move at that time. I packed my stuff and I took a trip to India, and I was in India for 3 months, and my whole plan was to kind of travel around the world for a year. Long story short, I ended up in Turkey, and I ended up working as a bartender, still making money online. I still had income coming through affiliate commissions that were just running on autopilot. My ads were running, I was paying for my ads, and the commissions were coming in, so I was still making, I would say, between $50 and $100 a day, doing nothing.
Right.
And that was pretty cool. But over time, I ended up staying. I stayed in Turkey. I still live in Turkey now. It's been about 5 years now. But over time, that income stream just dried up. When I say dried up, I mean just little things change as the internet does. Different rules will change. Different terms of services will change. Offers will expire. They'll stop offering them with commissions and whatnot. Different ways of advertising will stop working or become less effective. So back in 2011, I was back to living in Istanbul, Turkey, and I was just not making any money. But luckily, I had savings in the bank, so that I didn't have to worry about getting a job. I could live off my savings and use that as a way to start making, to trying to find another income source. So I came back in 2011. I came charging into places like the Warrior Forum and trying to figure out what the heck was going on, what were people doing to make money, and after going around the Warrior Forum for a while, it was just, it's really difficult, especially in the free areas of the Warrior Forum, to find any information that really is valuable. And when I say that, I mean, of course, there is valuable information, but one person will say do this, and another person will say do that, and then they'll have like little arguments between like this is right, and it's just hard to figure out who are the ones giving out good information and who's giving out information that's just trying to get you to click on their affiliate link, or they're just trying to make a buck off of you.
Right.
And so after dealing with that a while, I ended up getting into making. I was making WP Robot auto blocks, which. And this is, I bought some course, and it was like, okay, this is how people are making money. They're making thousands of dollars with auto blogs. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. I can just set this up and maybe write a few pieces of content, and then I'm just going to start getting checks from Google AdSense. And that didn't happen. I ended up making a website. I did completely wrong keyword research for it. I ended up searching in the Google AdWords tool. And for those of you that are familiar with it, instead of clicking exact, I clicked broad. And so I was getting very skewed numbers where I thought a search term that I was targeting was getting, I don't know, 100 searches a day. It was actually getting like 20 or something. So it was once I had ranked, I think I ranked first for that keyword term, but it was such an easy keyword term to rank for because there was no traffic for it. That once I was ranked for it, I was like waiting. I was like, okay, I'm number one. Where's the traffic? And it didn't end up coming in. So then what did I do? I started thinking, okay, well, if I have, and I had a few websites that I had made that were making some money from AdSense. I was making like $3, $4 a day from Google AdSense. So I figured, okay, if I've got a couple of AdSense making $4 a day, why not have a ton of websites making like $1 million a day? Like if I can have one website makes $1 a day, why not have 100 websites that make $100 a day? So from there, I ended up starting to build micro niche sites, which were just sometimes one page, sometimes 5 pages of just a one domain with a few pieces of content and just targeting maybe 1 or 2 keywords. So I started building those. I had some success with that. I came across, they were known at the time as the Adsense flippers. Now they're known as the Empire flippers. I came across them. I came across Spencer Hawes from nichepursuits.com. I came across Chris Guthrie, who does similar kind of sites with Amazon.
Yep.
And so I really started getting into making these sites, and I realized, okay, I'm having success with this. And I got it down to a science of building niche sites. So I knew that with my machine or my factory of building AdSense niche sites, I knew that it would cost me $30 total to build a site. And when I say build, I mean have built, because I didn't do anything. I outsourced the keyword research. I outsourced the content creation, the site building itself, everything. Only thing I really touched was I had everything kind of there's a free website called Trello, TRELLO.com, where you can kind of manage projects. So anyways, I just had that in this thing that I shared with my outsourcers, and I got to a point where I had approximately 700 AdSense niche sites that were making on average, I'd say around $2,000 to $3,000 a month from the AdSense income. But then what I was doing with them is when I came across the Empire flippers, what they do is they build very similar sites, but instead of just waiting for those sites to bring back the income over time, what they'll do is they'll just say, okay, this site's making $10 a month, and they sell it at 20 times income. So they'll say, okay, this is 20 times monthly income. So if it's making $10 a month, they'll sell that site for $200. And so they're able to quickly make money back and then reinvest it into site creation and then just keep on ramping everything up. So right. I was doing that for a while, similar model, became friends with them. I was networking with all these different people that were in my niche, and my best month, we're in August now. We're recording this in August. In July of 2012, I made a profit, and not just the money coming in. I had a profit of $12,000 from selling all those sites in 1 month. So that was awesome. That was like, I was thinking, okay, like I've made it. This is awesome. I can keep on doing this. I'm just gonna double down and invest a crap load of money into this and really create an empire of niche sites.
Right.
Well, in end of September 2012, right before that happened, actually, I started doing my own interview show, kind of like what you're doing now. And I figured, okay, what if something does happen to my AdSense sites? What if my AdSense account gets banned? What if I lose my rankings in Google? What if Google changes and Google is no longer the big search engine anymore? Like, I didn't want to have my whole business based upon one system. So I decided, okay, I'm going to start interviewing people and networking and using that as a way to really get my reach out there. It's going to, by interviewing other people, people are going to watch my show. By watching my show, they're going to come in and I can advertise my niche sites in my show. I can say at the beginning and end, I can say, hey everyone, welcome to the Mike from Maine show. Real quick, if you want to check out my AdSense niche sites, go to blah blah blah. And it's just it's actually a great way of monetizing this type of thing, is by selling your own products. So, anyways, I started that show at the end of September, and it's a good thing I did, because at the end of that month, Google did a change to their algorithm where they made it so that exact match domains, meaning domains that, let's say, for people that don't know, cars, how about convertible Toyotas would be one. So people searching, the domain would be convertibletoyotas.com or .org or .net, yep. And the likelihood that I could rank that domain for the search term convertible Toyotas was, like, I had an advantage, and I could get possibly, maybe not number one, but get it on the first page of Google, get that traffic coming in, get the AdSense clicks, and whatnot. Anyways, Google ended up updating their algorithm so that exact match domains didn't have the value, or didn't have the effect on the search engines that they used to. Yeah. So, not that they don't work anymore, I won't say that at all, but it wasn't the way that I was doing it then. And it might also be due to the fact that the kind of links that I was building to the domains, they weren't the best links in the world. They were article marketing links. They were just blasting social links at them. But anyways, Google changed their algorithm. I lost probably, I want to say 95, maybe a little less, but let's say 95% of my income overnight. So all that was just gone. I no longer had the AdSense income coming in that I used to. With that, it meant that I wasn't able to sell the sites anymore like I used to. I had some sites that were still ranking, but most of them weren't. I had to completely restructure my business at that point. So that was end of September 2012, and since then, what I've been doing, it's almost been a year now. We're in end of August, so it's almost been a year since that apocalyptic day came forth.
Changed everything, yeah.
And changed everything. But since then, I've been doing interviews, focusing on interviewing people that have interesting stories, have good products. They're selling. Most people that are successful out there, they have a product or a service that they sell. So it's been a tactic that I've had, is I'll interview people that are selling hot products, good products, and have them on my show, find out how they're making money online, find out what their story is, who they are, put a face to their profile pic. Yeah. And in the process, we'll talk about their story, and we talk about their product on my show. So yeah, I've been doing that since then, and I'm not making $1 million a year. I think I did around $1,800 in profit last month. Yep. But it's not so much money, but it's a lot more money than a lot of other people are making online, and hopefully with this I'll be able to really ramp it up and get more audience members. I'm starting to create my own products myself, and the relationships that I've been able to create from it, you can't really measure it in just dollars. You can measure it in opportunities that I'm going to be having in the future. So yeah, that's my story.
Yeah, so I mean, I know obviously you were able to recently launch a product, and that wouldn't have been possible obviously if you didn't have this interview show. Pretty much from the looks of things, that's kind of the content that you used and the relationships that you built. I mean, if you were to have done it differently, I mean, would you have done any other types of products based on everything you've learned from interviewing everyone?
Here's the thing, the product that I just put out, it's called Product Launch Confessions, and the reason why I put out my product was because after I'd interviewed I'd interviewed, at the time that I put out the product, I'd interviewed almost 200 people.
Yep.
And now that, and what happened was I wanted to put out my own products. So I started going out and trying to figure out how to do it. And I was like, okay, how am I going to do the sales letter, the membership site area where I'm going to get the content to people? How am I going to get people to mail for me? Like, what's the right way to do that? And I figured that if I didn't know how to do all that, then there must be other people out there that don't know how to do it as well. So yeah, what I did was I was able to leverage the relationships that I had by doing the interview show. And I would never, like if I tried to reach out to Mark Thompson, either Mark Thompson, there's a British one and an American one, and if you don't know who they are, they're pretty big names in this space. If I tried to reach out to one of them and just say, hey guys, I want to do an interview with you and then I'm going to sell it as a product, most of them would say no, because they would think, okay, who is this guy? Why am I going to help him with a product that's going to make him money? What's in it for me? Like, and they're probably, I would doubt that they would answer my email. But since I created that relationship with them, and they knew that I put out quality, not products at the time, but quality interviews, and they had that relationship with me, they were much more willing to say yes. So the whole reason why I even put out my product in the first place is because I knew that it would be helpful for people out there. It wasn't just something where it was going to be, okay, I'm going to show now, let's figure out a way how I can make money from it. Actually, to be honest with you, I didn't make that much money from selling my product. I post all my numbers on my blog, how much I made from it. I think I did in July, I think I made about $700 from launching my product. And the whole goal wasn't just to make money, it was to help people, and it was to bring in more people into my, I guess you'd call it my ecosphere, into my sphere of influence, so that more people would find out about my show, and I would just get more of a reach every time I put out an interview. So as far as being able to, as doing it another way, or having different products, I mean, yeah, there's tons of opportunities for products that can come from doing interviews with people, but you really need to be thinking about how you're going to be helping other people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it makes sense that, because you did the interview, you got to know them for 45 minutes to an hour, half hour, whatever the case, and then, at the time you're really giving value. It's all about them. That whole interview is about them. So, and you're basically giving them more, they're getting highlighted. They're the ones who are going to be possibly new people are going to find them.
Exactly.
So you go back, and then now you have that opportunity where you can create something, and at least they know who you are. You're not just coming out of the blind.
Reciprocity too.
Yeah, so I think that's awesome. I mean, that's something I'd really like to do myself too eventually, or at least use the opportunity of building relationships with the people that I've gotten to know. I've already, I know from a fact that just doing interviews in general, I've had people share products with me for free that they were selling on the Warrior Forum, and then I've had people willing to help me, do research or use tools that are they're paying for, maybe things that cost them monthly, and they're willing to help me out because now they know who I am. And
sure, you're not just some other random person out there. You have a face and a personality, and you've established a relationship with them.
Yeah. So going backwards a little bit, I mean, was there something in particular that actually got you the idea to start an interview show? Was there something that you just decided one day, well, I want to start interviewing people, or was there something you saw or watched or someone that influenced you?
When I first decided I was going to do a show, I had decided that I was going to do a podcast. And I was like, okay, I need to do a podcast so that I can speak to my audience. Probably Pat Flynn. I came across because I'd been listening to his podcast, and so I figured, okay, if I want to get my reach out there, a great way to do this would be a podcast. Of course, I was a little nervous about it. How am I, like, who am I to start a podcast? Like, well, who's going to want to listen to me? But I decided, okay, I'm going to do it, and then I ended up coming across an interview with Corbett Barr from Think Traffic and David Sutton Garland from therestoftheTop.com.
Yeah.
And pretty much what Corbett was doing was interviewing David about his product. And he was interviewing him about the benefits of doing an interview show. And it was a way for them to provide value through talking about that, and also for Corbett to make affiliate commissions through David's affiliate link. So I ended up going, and I saw that. I was like, who is this guy, David Sutton Garland? Like, I had no idea who he was. I'd never heard of the Rest of the Top before. Right. And I clicked through, and I signed up for his, he was giving away some free mistakes three mistakes you should make when doing a show or something. I don't know, some internet marketing kind of squeeze page ploy. Right. But it worked on me, and it was good. So I signed up, and I watched, and he seemed like he knew what he was doing. And then I was like, he had a course for, I think it was like $497, which is pretty pricey. And I said, okay, like, I'll take a look at this. If it sucks, I'll just refund it. Because $497 just seems like a lot of money to pay for me for a product. So I pulled the trigger, I bought it, and it was awesome. Like, it was create awesome interviews, and it was an awesome course. And by the time I finished with it, I had no intention of refunding, because I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. It's a good course. So I took that, and that made it a lot easier for me to get started doing interviews, because it answered a lot of the questions I had, like, how do you go out and get a guest? How do you approach them? What software should you use for an interview? How do you edit the interviews? Like, the stuff that he was showing me, that now it's like second nature for me, but like editing with ScreenFlow, or like, I don't know, I had no idea how to do video editing. I had a hard time just using things like Photoshop. How was I going to do video editing? So yeah, he was a big influence for me. He ended up being on my show. He's been on my show twice now. So yeah, that's where I got my influence to do that.
Now, I guess obviously I know originally when you started, you kind of had this. Your sort of tagline for your show is to do daily interviews. Mm-hmm. I know some of the stuff you did, like before your product, you were kind of doing like some informational value videos, but overall, would you say you've been able to almost accomplish doing an interview a day?
Yes. It's almost been an interview a day, and I'm going to give myself an excuse for not having done that recently. Just because it's been pretty hectic with I got married this year, and I've moved house, and with that in mind, I think the least I did was 3 interviews in a week, but most of the time it's at least 5 videos up per week. Sometimes I'll throw a review in there of a product, but in general you're going to get 5 pieces of content a week. And I've actually thought about, after I talked with John Lee Dumas at Entrepreneur on Fire, and he's gone to the format of producing 7 podcasts a week. Yeah. And I remember when I was doing 5, people were saying to me, some people were saying to me, Mike, 5, it's too much. Like, I can't watch all your shows if it's 5. And my brother was telling me, I think, that I needed to do less. But here's the thing, like, and people probably were telling John Lee Dumas that too. He was doing 5. Now he's doing 7. So I've considered doing 6 or doing 7, putting out a weekend version of it. Sometimes what I'll do, instead of putting out a podcast or a show on the weekend, is I'll put out, if it's every month, I put out an income report showing people exactly how much money I'm making from into my online marketing stuff. So I want to be completely transparent with people about that. But as far as putting out, I mean, yeah, I put out 5 a week, but I'm dabbling with putting out more, just because I know there are some people out there that want to consume it, and I know that there's people that watch my show. From talking to them, I know that a lot of people don't watch every single show, and I don't expect them to watch every single show, because if someone came up and I was talking about some YouTube video ranking method and they're not interested in YouTube, why are they going to watch the show? Like, I wouldn't watch the show. It's not necessary. But I like it to have it so that people can pick and choose what they want to watch. They get the email from me telling them, okay, the new interview's up. This is what it's about. If it looks interesting, they click through and they watch it. If not, that's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. But I almost feel like I want to put out more content, and it's not just because for the fact that I think I'm going to get more readers because of the more content. It's because also I'll be able to create more relationships with people by doing that. I'll be able to interview more people and create more opportunities that I wouldn't have beforehand. Like, I was looking at my iPhone. I was looking at it the other day. I wonder if I still have it. Where I was calculating how many. I'm horrible at math, by the way. If I ever try to do any kind of math and I mess it up, you'll understand. I'm not sure if you can see this.
Yeah, it's coming through.
But it was saying that okay, if I do 2 videos a week for a month, that's 8 videos per month, and that's 45 videos per year. Okay. So how about 3 videos per week? 3 videos meaning interviews. 12 videos per month, that's 64 videos a year. Okay. So if I do 5 videos per week, that's 20 videos per month and 250 videos per year. So because I was like, okay, well, that 250 sounds much better than 45 videos per year. So that's where I initially came. Like, I was like, okay, I need to be putting out a lot of content. I want to be putting out, doing all these interviews. I want to be just putting out epic content and making people realize that I'm here to stay, and I'm not just another, fly-by-night, I'm going to try this out for a little while. I'm not making $100,000 a month and I'm giving up. Like, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to be putting out content whether you like it or not.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously it's working for you too, so there's no reason. It's not like, you've made 200 episodes and you're not making a significant enough of a income to continue with it,
Yeah, and I'm still learning. With every episode I do, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out what direction I want my show to go in. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my niche is. If you look at my shows from when I started, I was interviewing people that were doing like mobile websites and some theme stuff. Like, now, mostly what I interview people about are methods of making money online, list building tactics, just like a lot of things with YouTube, cost per action, CPA, affiliate marketing. That's where I've kind of narrowed down into. Probably a year from now, I'll have narrowed down even more. But that's just a process that I've been in, and I think most people, if you're able to start out and you know exactly who you want to interview, that's fantastic. More power to you. But in order to make my shows better, I need to be interested in what my guests are talking about, because if I'm not interested in what they're talking about, then the show is going to suck. And it's just going to be, the questions that I ask are just going to be questions that I think people are going to want to hear, but I don't really know. Like, I want to be interviewing people that I think are fascinating, or I think what the method that they're doing is fascinating. That's the kind of way. That's when my shows get good, and that's when people. That's when I get the most comments. That's when I get the most messages from people saying, "Well, Mike, thanks. That was a great interview." Like, that's when it gets to be the best.
Right. Yeah. I know. I've heard you say that before too. Is that you've interviewed some people you just weren't interested in, particularly what they were doing, or it just really things didn't flow. So it just sort of becomes awkward, I guess.
Yeah, it just became not necessarily awkward, but it was just like I just wasn't interested in it, and it was just like, okay, let's just get this interview kind of done with, and it wasn't. It's just much better if you're actually interested in what they're doing.
Right. Now, something else I thought would be interesting, and I don't think I've particularly run into it myself, but do you find that in some cases, obviously, you kind of got to screen these people like in a little bit in a way that you got to figure out, okay, am I going to have this person on the show, and are they very truthful? Is their product an honest product? Is it valuable? I know in a couple cases you've mentioned you've had some people on, and you've done overall a pretty good job of sort of like filtering out the good versus the bad. But have you found that it can be difficult to do that, and kind of I guess maybe share some of your experiences with that?
I don't want to name names because
Yeah.
I think that's unfair to my guests. I want to treat my guests. I don't want my show to be a gotcha kind of show, but I will ask difficult questions to people when they're on my show, but not in a way that I want to embarrass them or make them look bad. I just want to make sure that they're challenged enough so that that my audience isn't going to go, oh, Mike is just kind of bringing them on and just selling their product for them. Like, that's not what I want.
Right.
So an example of someone that was on my show was an earlier episode, below the top 50, I think. And I had a guy on, and he was very much a used car salesman type, selling, and it was just, I don't know, he was a little over the top. He was interesting, but he was over the top, and I felt like it was, I don't know, I felt uncomfortable publishing it. And I almost didn't publish it, but I ended up publishing it in the end. My audience isn't stupid, so I got comments from them being like, whoa, like, who is this guy? Like, they realized that he was a little bit off.
Yeah.
He was to do with Empower Network, which I didn't know at the time. And I found out later on that he had a lot to do with that kind of stuff. So those are the kind of people that I don't want on my show. People that I do want on my people that to try to screen so that I get people that I want on my show. What I'll do is most people, I'd say 90% of people that come on my show have a product that they're selling, and what I'll do is they'll give me a review copy of it to test and look over. And I don't have time to go over every single product people send me, but I will go and look and make sure it's not some like PLR book that someone's hashed over, and it's just like some crap that they've just thrown up and trying to sell. Usually I'll also check out, I can look at, it's public knowledge what their sales numbers look like, so I can see if they've got a lot of refunds on it. That means that customers haven't been happy with it. Also, usually by talking with them, I can understand if they're the real deal or not. I can get a sense for how they're answering my questions, and if they're able to answer my questions that I have about specific aspects of it. People that are, it seems to me, this is something I found, people that are really secretive about what they're doing online, or whatever, people that are really secretive, usually there's something there that's off. And I understand, like, there's other times where people, like, okay, they have a niche site that they don't want to reveal because they don't want everyone copying it. That's okay. But when people are selling products and they have the sales pages that are like, well, it's not PPC, and it's not SEO, and it's not this, and it's not that. I hate that, and I also hate that in my show. And I will drill people. And I had a guy on my show. I'm going to be publishing him in a few days. He had a product, and it's a great product. And what was his name? I forget so many people. Vincent Bacalino. I'm butchering his name. Sorry, Vinny. But anyways, he's going to be on my show in a few days. And we were doing the interview, and I was trying to get him to explain more about it to me. And during the interview, he was like, well, I don't want to give away all of it and stuff. And I was like, look, Vinny, the more you give away in the interview, the more people are going to realize that you're an established authority. The more they're going to trust you. If you're just kind of waiting for them to pull out their credit card and trust you, then you're going to have a lot less sales. Give away as much as you can, and that's when people are going to be more likely to pull the trigger and buy. And it was funny, during the interview, he was like, well, He's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I totally agree with you. Let's start this interview and let's start it again. I was like, no, Vinny, we're gonna keep this right in the interview. This is you came to it. You came to your realization that this is what is gonna be the best way to do this. Like, we're gonna keep this in. And I asked him, I was like, Vinny, can we keep this in here? And he's like, yes, that's fine. Let's keep it in. I was like, okay, tell me about your method. And he walks us through it. And he shows and he tells us all about it, because the thing is, if people are listening and they think, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about,
Yeah.
they're going to be much more likely to buy. Because, of course, I can tell you right now, John. Okay, I do interviews 5 days a week, and I interview people that have affiliate products that I promote, and blah blah blah. And I tell you my whole business model. And at the end, I say, okay, well, if you want to do it too, I have this course where I'm going to sell you on how to do interviews. Like, you're much more likely to say, wow, Mike knows what he's talking about. Mike's actually doing this. Mike is an authority in this. You're much more likely to say, okay, well, I want to learn all of the intricate details of this, all the little things that are really important when it comes to these things, all the little things that are just the details. And by sharing the big stuff and leaving those little details to the side, people are going to actually buy and want to learn those. So and I've had much better results. People that try to be secretive and try to hide things, it's just that people don't buy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes perfect sense, because you have someone in the show and then they're not going to really talk about their product, and if people still don't know by reading the ad sales copy, then it just doesn't really make a lot of. I mean, I can understand, like, someone can't, for them to like spill everything, it might be giving away their idea or product, like, but
I call bullshit, though. I really do. I say spill as much as you can. Spill it out. Put it on the table. Tell us what you're doing, and if you're really doing something of value, people are gonna understand. And that's a good way. That's a way how I'm able to screen my people. That's a way I'm able to understand if a person's good or not. I've had people that have come on and I've not aired their show because I didn't feel comfortable doing it. I felt like I got to the point where, because every time I put out an interview to my audience, like, my audience knows that I get an affiliate commission from it, but I also say that if I really do endorse a product, I will go out and I will say it. I will say, like, guys, I'm interviewing John Shea today. He's got an awesome course on how to make videos, on how to make interviews. And, like, if I say that, that means something. If I don't say that, it means that I'm just not endorsing it. It just means that I don't know enough to endorse it. But I'm not going to say that every single product is fantastic, because they're not. But there are some great things out there that deserve praise, and they deserve for my approval. And what I'll do also is, if I feel like someone's that good, is if they're selling in the Warrior Forum or somewhere, I'll go out and I'll write and I'll say, that's like your testimonial technique. I'll write and say, like, okay, guys, I just interviewed blah 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 and on this technique. I think it's awesome. I approve it. And I don't put a link to my interview or anything in there. I just put out that approval there because I think the person deserves it.
Right. No, I've seen you do that on at least 2 or 3, like the Warrior Forum, like their WSO post, and you'll kind of like leave that little excerpt, whether or not they're legit, and mention that you did the interview, which is pretty cool, because then at least people are understanding that that person is not just whoever, just some nobody, or doesn't have
exactly. And I don't need to leave a link to it or anything. I just say, okay, I did an interview with this person, and they're the real deal. So
yeah, no, that's cool. So there was something else I was thinking I wanted to ask too. I know, so obviously you're at this point, you've done over 200 interviews, you've got your first product. Is there anything else that I guess in terms of like next big goals? Obviously, you're going to keep going with the interviews. Is there anything else that you're planning for the future, like in terms of other products or ideas, things that you might change or add to the show?
Right now, I'm continuing on with the format that I have for my interviews. I'm going to continue doing that for now, putting out at least 5 interviews a week. As far as future products go, I've still got Product Launch Confessions, which is still that's still for sale, and I'm going to be putting out a similar product, which I'm not sure about it. I don't want to say for sure, but my idea right now is I'm really interested in solo ads. So I'm thinking about reaching out to some of the top solo ad sellers and doing a solo ad related product. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be about yet. I don't know if it's going to be about how to start a solo ad selling business or how to build a list with solo ads or what. I need to kind of get a more of a feel of what people want, of what people are going to be interested in, because I don't want to create a product where I'm hoping that people are going to buy it. I want to create a product where I'm knowing that people are going to buy it, where they're like asking me, when is this going to be done? That's what I want to create. And I want to create something of value that people that are interested in the topic are going to just get blown away by it. Like, I've had multiple people emailing me about my product launch confessions course and just saying, Mike, wow, this is great. These interviews are super high quality. I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but a lot of people doing interview products out there don't actually do interviews on a daily basis. And one of the, I guess, my unique selling proposition, or my unique skills that I can bring in, is the fact that I do interviews all the time, so 5 days a week. So I have that skill that I'm able to bring to that interview product to make it even better. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to put out some more interview products, which is interesting because I've heard people say before, oh, interview products don't work, interview products are dead, blah blah blah. But it goes to show you that a lot of people saying that these things are dead. Like, how many times have you heard SEO is dead or email marketing is dead? People say that because they've tried a couple things and it didn't work. So someone went out and tried to do an interview product. They marketed it the wrong way. They had a horrible sales letter. They didn't do the proper JV relationship networking and whatnot. I mean, there's so many variables involved in all of these things where it's much easier to say something's dead or doesn't work than it is to actually keep on persevering and trying to make it work. Right. So yeah, I'll be putting out some more interview products, and I'm always testing different methods of making money online. I'm testing something right now where I'm using one of my audience members' products, and I've already made. I started using it a few days ago, and I've already made $50 in profit off of it. So I find that to be pretty successful, being that I didn't actually have to do any work to do it.
I think I know what product you're talking about.
Which one do you think I'm talking about?
Is it the Tommy's product?
No, it's not Tommy's, but I've used that also. Tommy's is Arbitrage Underdog, and which is a fantastic tool for searching through Craigslist. But that being said, it's one thing to search through Craigslist and find people that are in need of services, and it's another thing to keep on doing it consistently and not just do it a few times and give up because it's not working. Like, especially that kind of product right now, if any of you know about it, like, everyone and their mom right now is up there trying that method. Give it a week, give it a couple weeks, and most people will have given up, and it'll be easier to find some fish in there to be able to sell products to. But yeah, it's a tough world out there, John. But there's ways of making money online. There's ways of doing it, and you just need to be really persistent, and you need to fail a lot of times. I've failed so many times. My businesses, like I told you in my story, I had a business making $100,000 a year, and I got slapped down. Like that business died just over time, and down to nothing. And if you don't nurture these things, if you don't keep changing with the way that the business is changing, the internet's changing, you'll be left behind.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, something else I wanted to ask, and I don't really, it appears to be working really well for you, but I kind of, and a lot of people talk about how they should focus on one thing. Now, obviously, you must have a pretty diverse audience, but, what I wanted to ask about was you have so many different people on the show, and everyone has different products of all different kinds. I mean, people are talking about things from solo ads to niche sites to, I know you've got even like Kindle ebook courses, all kinds of stuff. And I've seen, from your income reports, people are buying those products, and they're buying just about everything from your report. You got a huge list of I made $300 from this, I made $20 from this. And do you ever find that you have people from your audience, coming to you and saying, well, you've got so many different things going on with all these different people. Like, do you ever get anyone who's saying they're sort of confused, they don't know where to go, they're not sure what they want to get into?
Definitely. There are people that come to me asking me to, okay, Mike, there's all these things, all these different options. Which one should I choose? Which one should I go after? And that's a really tough question. And it's the first thing that I tell people is that you need to have a home base before you do anything. You need to have a blog. If you don't have a blog set up, you need one. I don't care. Go get a free blog at Bloggers, Blogspot, or whatever.com. But have somewhere. Actually, I would say that only if really you couldn't afford a website. But get a website, get a blog, and so have that. And the reason why I say that is because initially with MikeFromMaine.com, what I was doing is I was keeping track of all my expenses and my profits and keeping everything there so I could see, okay, I spent $17 on this course, and how much did I make this month? Okay, I made $50 doing this. Like, I want to make sure that I'm not going out there and spending all this money testing out all this stuff and not making any money back. I need to at least be making, at least breaking even every month. So what I usually tell people is I say, okay, look for something, look through my interviews, look through my episode list, find something that's really resonates with you, find something that's really interesting for you, and go ahead and you can I don't care, buy it through my link, buy it through the Warrior Forum, it doesn't really matter to me. But go get it, go do it, and document it. Start writing down your journey. I want to know in a year from now, when you're making $50 a day online, I want to see that journey. I want to see you have come from nothing to where you are today. So it's almost like, when they say with dieting, people are much more likely to stay on a diet when they actually write things down and they're accountable for their actions. It's the same kind of thing with making money online. The more that you're accountable for what you're doing, the more that you're writing things down, you're letting people know your successes and your failures, that's going to make you much more likely to be successful. It's going to make you think. It's going to make you think and double check, think twice about every single thing that you buy out there. Do you really need that new shiny tool? Is that really going to help you out?
Right.
And if you do buy it, you're going to buy it and you're going to talk about how you used it and how it did work or how it didn't work, what you did with it, and that's when you'll give someone. That's when you'll do a review about something, how you used it and you didn't get the results that you expected, or you did this but it wasn't able to do this, and you'll have someone reach out to you and say, hey, John, I did the same thing, but did you try doing this? That sort of becomes a collaborative effort, and you can actually get other people helping you out, and you're helping them. We don't need to be at this thing all alone. We're connected every day through social accounts, through Facebook, through Twitter.
Yep.
You need to join different Facebook groups with similar-minded people, but at the same time, like, beware of people that are just trying to sell you things for affiliate commissions, or that are just trying to get you to join their downline in Empower Network or any of those network marketing things.
Yeah.
Just make sure that the people that are suggesting things to you are doing it out of, okay, sure, they're going to maybe they have an affiliate link and they're going to make some money off of it, but that they're also providing some value to you and giving you some real advice, not just like, okay, go sign up for my link. Like,
right.
You need to make sure that it's not just like, make sure they're also doing things as well, and they're also spending money, and they're also on the journey. Because if they're on the journey with you, then they're going to be much more able to understand where you're at and where you're going to.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if there was anything else you really wanted to share. I think we've covered a ton today. I think we're pushing about 50 minutes here.
Sure. Go to MikeFromMaine.com if you want to see my interviews. I'm sure John will have some kind of a link. Maybe you'll have a link to Product Launch Confessions
Yeah,
under the
yeah.
show.
I'll put links to a lot of the things we talked about. Some of the people that we mentioned.
Sure.
We mentioned Pat Flynn, John Lee Dumas, David Siteman Garland. I'll put links to their websites, and they all have podcasts. Those guys are all doing really well, and of course, Mike has a product that contains interviews and kind of goes over what you'd be looking for in launching a product. That's what it's all about.
And look at the fact that all these guys have podcasts and shows, and they're they're doing that in a way that they're really able. Not the fact that they have that makes it so that we talk about them and that we have things to reference about them.
Yep.
If I didn't have my show, no one, like, I don't know why anyone would reference me. Like, what would they say? Like, no one would have a reason to. But because I do have a show, it makes it so that I do get referenced by people. Oh, check out the Mike from Maine show. Oh, check out this. Mike did this. Mike did that. Like, and that will happen over time. So also, I would say advice to people: if you don't have a show, don't have a blog, first start out with a blog, and slowly start out with a show. Start interviewing people in your space. Like, start. You don't have to be a professional interviewer. Go ahead and check out my first interviews. They're horrible. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm proud of them too. I'm proud of them because I was able to go out there and start doing this even when I had no friggin' idea what I was doing.
Mm.
And it's cool to watch the progression over time of my interviews and my interview style, and my camera gets better, and like all these. That's like my favorite thing. My camera gets better. But yeah, just go out and do something. Like, don't take action. It's cliche, but it's true.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's kind of like where I've been going with my show. I've just figure if you keep going with it, then it's a proven model. There's plenty of people. One of the guys I interviewed, he was like raving when he posted the interview on Facebook about how the idea of doing an interview show is such a profitable business model,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's very, pretty much he's talking about how exciting it was, and that I'm doing a really good thing. So it gives me that much more confidence to keep going and keep doing it. And every time I have someone on, it's like I'm learning something new. I'm getting to know that person, and generally the people that I'm having on are doing something where they're having some sort of success, and that's what's so exciting.
Carry on, Johnny boy.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll wrap this up, and I appreciate having you on. I know, like I said, anyone who I found Mike because someone that he interviewed actually, I told them that I was interested in doing interviews, and he goes, "Oh, like Mike from Maine," and then I checked out Mike's site, and I've been learning from Mike for a while. So if you haven't been over there, go check out his interviews. He's a great person to get to know. I've left him a testimonial. It's on his about page. So yeah, I guess we'll leave it with that, and like I said, the links will be under this posted for this show.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. Bye.